The day that changed humanity's destiny began like any other. Jenna Rodriguez, a brilliant astrophysicist at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, was analyzing data from deep space when she noticed an anomaly. At first, she dismissed it as a glitch, but as she delved deeper, her heart began to race. The readings were unlike anything she had ever seen before. "Dr. Patel." Jenna called out to her supervisor, her voice trembling with excitement and a hint of fear. "You need to see this." Dr. Rahul Patel hurried over, his brow furrowed with concern. As he looked at the screen, his eyes widened. "This can't be right," he muttered, adjusting his glasses. "These readings suggest a massive object entering our solar system," Jenna finished for him. "And it's moving fast." Within hours, observatories around the world confirmed their findings. Something big was heading towards Earth, and it wasn't a natural phenomenon. The news spread like wildfire, and soon, the entire planet was on high alert. As governments scrambled to respond, the object revealed itself. It was a massive spacecraft, easily the size of a small city. Its sleek, metallic surface gleamed in the sunlight as it approached Earth's orbit. The world held its breath, waiting to see if this was a moment of first contact or the beginning of an invasion. United Nations Secretary-General Amara Okafor called for an emergency session. Leaders from around the world gathered in New York, their faces grim with the weight of the moment. As they debated their next move, the alien ship made the decision for them. A message, broadcast on all frequencies and in every language, echoed across the globe: "People of Earth, we come seeking refuge. Our world has fallen to a terrible enemy, and we need your help. We are the last of the Zephyrians, and we bring warning of a threat that endangers us all." The message was met with a mixture of hope, fear, and skepticism. Some saw it as an opportunity for humanity to prove its worth on the galactic stage. Others feared it was a trick, a prelude to invasion. In the midst of the chaos, an unlikely hero emerged. Jack Harper, a former Marine turned small-town sheriff in Montana, found himself thrust into the spotlight. As the alien ship descended to land in a remote area of the Rocky Mountains, Jack was the closest authority figure. With his heart pounding and his hand resting nervously on his sidearm, Jack approached the landing site. The ship's massive doors opened with a hiss, and out stepped beings that looked surprisingly human-like, save for their iridescent skin and large, almond-shaped eyes. Their leader, a tall, regal figure named Lyra, approached Jack with open hands. "We come in peace," she said, her voice melodious and strangely calming. "We seek sanctuary and alliance against a common foe." Jack, drawing on years of experience in tense situations, kept his voice steady as he replied, "Welcome to Earth. I'm Sheriff Jack Harper. I hope you understand we'll need some explanations." As Lyra began to share their story, Jack listened intently. The Zephyrians spoke of a ruthless empire known as the Voidborn, a species that consumed worlds and left only destruction in their wake. They had already conquered much of the galaxy, and Earth was next in their path. "We chose your world because we sensed something special in your species," Lyra explained. "A fire, a determination that we believe might be the key to stopping the Voidborn." As Jack relayed this information to his superiors, the world leaders debated fiercely. Some argued for immediate action, while others counseled caution. But as more information came to light, including evidence of the Voidborn's approach, a decision was made. Earth would stand with the Zephyrians. It was time for humanity to take its place among the stars. In the days that followed, a flurry of activity engulfed the planet. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock, combining human ingenuity with Zephyrian technology. Military strategists pored over alien star charts, planning Earth's defense. Jack found himself working closely with Lyra, bridging the gap between humans and Zephyrians. Despite their differences, he found a kindred spirit in the alien leader. Both were warriors at heart, dedicated to protecting their people. As Earth prepared for war, a sense of unity swept across the planet. Old rivalries were set aside in the face of a common threat. Humanity, for perhaps the first time in its history, stood as one. The Zephyrians were amazed by the speed at which humans adapted to the situation. Within weeks, prototype ships combining human and alien technology were taking flight. Weapons capable of challenging the Voidborn were being mass-produced in factories around the world. But even as hope grew, so did the shadow of the approaching enemy. Long-range sensors detected the first wave of the Voidborn fleet entering the solar system. The time for preparation was over. As the world held its breath, waiting for the coming storm, Jack stood on a hill overlooking the Zephyrian ship. Lyra joined him, her eyes fixed on the stars above. "Your people are remarkable," she said softly. "In all our travels, we've never encountered a species quite like yours." Jack nodded, his jaw set with determination. "We're stubborn like that. When our backs are against the wall, that's when we fight the hardest." As they watched the sun set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, both human and alien knew that the real battle was just beginning. The fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. And so, as darkness fell, humanity prepared to face its greatest challenge. The heroes we didn't expect were about to make their stand. As news of the alien arrival spread across Earth, governments and citizens alike grappled with the implications of first contact. The initial shock gave way to a mix of excitement and apprehension as humanity realized it was no longer alone in the universe. In the days following the landing, world leaders convened an emergency summit at the United Nations headquarters in New York. Representatives from every nation gathered to discuss Earth's response to the Zephyrian plea for help. The debates were intense, with some arguing for caution and others pushing for immediate action. During the summit, Commander Olivia Reeves, a decorated military strategist, presented a comprehensive analysis of the situation. She emphasized the potential benefits of an alliance with the Zephyrians, as well as the risks of remaining neutral in the face of the Voidborn threat. "We stand at a crossroads," Reeves declared, her voice echoing through the assembly hall. "The choice we make today will shape the future of our species and our place in the galaxy." The news of Earth's decision to stand with the Zephyrians spread like wildfire across the planet. Governments and citizens alike grappled with the implications of this monumental choice. As the reality of an impending interstellar war sank in, a wave of unity swept across nations, old rivalries set aside in the face of a common threat. Admiral Olivia Chen, a seasoned military strategist, found herself at the helm of Earth's newly formed Space Defense Force. Her first task was to integrate human and Zephyrian technologies, a challenge that pushed the boundaries of human innovation. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock, combining Earth's rugged practicality with the Zephyrians' advanced theories. In orbit above Earth, the first joint human-Zephyrian ships took shape. These vessels, sleek and powerful, represented the best of both species' ingenuity. As they conducted test flights, their crews learned to work together, overcoming cultural differences and language barriers. On the ground, training facilities sprang up across the globe. Volunteers from all walks of life signed up to join the fight, driven by a mix of fear, curiosity, and determination. Among them was Jack Harper, the small-town sheriff who had first greeted the Zephyrians. His down-to-earth approach and quick thinking made him an ideal liaison between humans and their alien allies. As Earth prepared for war, the Zephyrians shared more about their fallen civilization and the ruthless Voidborn. They spoke of worlds consumed, species extinguished, and the relentless march of an enemy that seemed unstoppable. But in humanity, they saw a spark of hope, a fierce determination that might just turn the tide. The first test of this fledgling alliance came sooner than expected. Long-range sensors detected a Voidborn scout ship entering the solar system. Admiral Chen knew they couldn't let it report back to its fleet. She assembled a strike team, a mix of human and Zephyrian pilots, for their first joint mission. Jack found himself aboard one of the new hybrid fighters, his hands steady on unfamiliar controls. As they approached the Voidborn ship, tension filled the cockpit. The alien vessel, all sharp angles and ominous intent, seemed to absorb the very light around it. The battle was brief but intense. Human unpredictability combined with Zephyrian precision proved a formidable combination. Jack's unorthodox maneuver, born from years of car chases on dusty roads, caught the Voidborn off guard. A well-placed shot from his Zephyrian wingmate finished the job. As the Voidborn ship exploded in silent fury, a cheer went up across the comm channels. It was a small victory, but a crucial one. They had proven that together, they could stand against the darkness. Back on Earth, news of the successful engagement bolstered morale. More nations pledged their support, and resources poured into the war effort. The Galactic Alliance, as it came to be known, grew stronger by the day. But even as they celebrated, the shadow of the approaching Voidborn fleet loomed large. Earth had taken its first steps into a larger universe, and there was no turning back. The real battle was yet to come, and the fate of not just one world, but countless others, hung in the balance. As the days turned to weeks, the alliance between humans and Zephyrians deepened. Cultural exchanges flourished alongside military preparations. Earth cities buzzed with a new energy as alien visitors walked among humans, sharing knowledge and forging friendships. In this atmosphere of collaboration, breakthroughs came rapidly. Human scientists, inspired by Zephyrian concepts, made leaps in propulsion technology and energy weapons. Zephyrian engineers, in turn, marveled at humanity's resourcefulness, finding elegant solutions in Earth's simpler technologies. Admiral Chen oversaw it all, her steady hand guiding the formation of Earth's first true space fleet. As the ships took shape in orbital dockyards, she couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and apprehension. They were building something magnificent, but would it be enough? Jack, now a key figure in human-Zephyrian relations, spent his days bridging gaps between the two species. He found that despite their differences, there was more that united them than divided them. Both humans and Zephyrians shared a love of exploration, a sense of humor, and above all, a fierce desire to protect their homes. As the alliance grew stronger, other alien races took notice. Refugees from worlds already touched by the Voidborn sought sanctuary on Earth. Among them were brilliant minds and skilled warriors, each bringing unique perspectives to the fight ahead. The Galactic Alliance was taking shape, a beacon of hope in a darkening galaxy. But time was running short. The Voidborn were coming, and the greatest test of this newfound unity lay just beyond the horizon. The success of the initial campaigns against the Khazar Empire had bolstered the confidence of the Galactic Alliance. With each victory, more species joined their ranks, bringing unique skills and technologies to the fight. As the Alliance prepared for its next major offensive, a sense of cautious optimism spread through their ranks. Admiral Donovan stood on the bridge of the flagship, studying the holographic map of Khazar-controlled space. The next target was clear, the Nexus, a massive space station that served as the central command for Khazar operations across multiple sectors. Taking it would deal a crippling blow to the enemy's ability to coordinate their forces. "This won't be easy," Donovan muttered, his eyes fixed on the rotating image of the Nexus. Captain Zara, a Zephyrian tactical officer, nodded in agreement. "The Nexus is heavily fortified. Our intel suggests multiple layers of energy shields and a fleet of defenders." As they discussed strategy, Jack Harper entered the bridge. The former sheriff had proven himself an invaluable asset, his unconventional thinking often providing solutions where traditional military tactics failed. "We've got a plan," Jack announced, a glimmer of excitement in his eyes. "It's risky, but it might just work." The plan was audacious. A small team would infiltrate the Nexus disguised as a Khazar supply ship. The fall of the Nexus sent shockwaves through the Khazar Empire. Their once impenetrable command structure was in disarray, and systems under their control began to rebel. The Galactic Alliance saw an opportunity to strike at the heart of the Empire and end the war once and for all. Admiral Donovan called a meeting of the Alliance's top strategists. The room buzzed with excitement and tension as holograms flickered to life, displaying the latest intelligence on Khazar Prime, the Empire's heavily fortified homeworld. "This is our chance," Donovan said, his voice firm. "We hit them now, while they're reeling from the loss of the Nexus." Jack studied the holographic display, his brow furrowed. "It won't be easy. They'll throw everything they have at us." Captain Zara nodded in agreement. "Our intel suggests they've recalled their remaining fleets to defend Khazar Prime. It's going to be a bloodbath." The room fell silent as the enormity of the task ahead sank in. Then, a voice spoke up from the back. It was Dr. Alara, the brilliant Zephyrian scientist who had been instrumental in adapting alien technology for human use. "What if we could neutralize their defenses without a direct assault?" she asked, her eyes gleaming with an idea. All heads turned towards her as she explained her plan. It was audacious, borderline insane, but if it worked, it could save countless lives and end the war in one stroke. The plan was set in motion. While the main fleet prepared for the assault on Khazar Prime, a small team led by Jack and Dr. Alara would infiltrate the planet's automated defense network. Their goal, to upload a virus that would turn the Khazar's own weapons against them. As the day of the operation dawned, tension ran high throughout the Alliance fleet. Jack and his team boarded their stealth ship, a prototype vessel that combined the best of human and alien technology. "Remember," Jack said to his team as they prepared for launch, "we're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for every species that's suffered under the Khazar. Let's make it count." The journey to Khazar Prime was fraught with danger. They navigated through minefields and sensor nets, relying on Dr. Alara's ingenious cloaking device to avoid detection. As they entered the planet's atmosphere, the true scale of the Khazar defenses became apparent. "My God," whispered one of the team members, staring at the sea of anti-aircraft batteries and defense platforms that covered the planet's surface. Jack set his jaw. "Stay focused. We've got a job to do." They landed near a primary control node for the defense network, hidden in the shadows of a massive Khazar citadel. As they disembarked, the sky lit up with the flashes of battle. The main Alliance fleet had arrived, engaging the Khazar forces in orbit. Jack led his team through the chaos, dodging patrols and slipping through security checkpoints. Dr. Alara worked her magic on the Khazar systems, creating distractions and opening paths where none seemed to exist. Finally, they reached the central control room. As Jack's team secured the perimeter, Dr. Alara plugged her device into the main console. Lines of code flashed across the screen as the virus began its work. Suddenly, alarms blared. They had been discovered. "How much longer?" Jack shouted over the din. 2 minutes. Dr. Alara replied, her fingers flying over the keyboard. Jack and his team took up defensive positions as Khazar soldiers poured into the room. The air filled with the sound of gunfire and energy weapons. 1 minute. Dr. Alara called out. Jack ducked behind a console, returning fire. He watched as one of his team members fell, then another. The Khazar were pressing in from all sides. 30 seconds. A blast hit Jack in the shoulder, spinning him around. He gritted his teeth against the pain, continuing to fire. "Done!" Dr. Alara shouted triumphantly. As if on cue, the room fell silent. The Khazar soldiers lowered their weapons, confusion evident on their faces. Outside, the sounds of battle began to fade. Jack staggered to his feet, moving to the main view screen. What he saw took his breath away. The Khazar defense platforms had turned, targeting their own ships. The mighty Khazar fleet was being torn apart by friendly fire. "We did it," he breathed, barely able to believe his eyes. As news of the Khazar homeworld's fall spread, the Empire's remaining forces began to surrender. The war that had consumed the galaxy was over. In the days that followed, representatives from every allied species gathered on Earth for a historic summit. As Jack watched the proceedings, he felt a sense of awe at what they had accomplished. Humanity, once alone in the universe, now stood as equals among the stars. The heroes we didn't expect had not only saved Earth but had ushered in a new era of peace and cooperation for the entire galaxy. As Jack looked out at the sea of alien faces, all united in celebration, he knew that the adventure was just beginning. In the aftermath of the Khazar Empire's fall, the galaxy entered a period of unprecedented change. The Galactic Alliance, forged in the crucible of war, now faced the challenge of building a lasting peace. On Earth, the streets were filled with celebration. Humans and aliens alike danced and sang, reveling in the end of the conflict that had threatened to consume them all. But in the halls of power, the work was just beginning. Jack found himself in an unfamiliar role, no longer a soldier but a diplomat. As one of the key figures in the war's final battles, he was called upon to help shape the new galactic order. "I'm not cut out for this," he grumbled to Admiral Donovan as they prepared for another round of negotiations. Donovan clapped him on the shoulder. "None of us are. But we're the ones who made it happen, so it's up to us to see it through." The negotiations were complex, with each species bringing its own priorities and concerns to the table. The Zephyrians pushed for advanced technology sharing, while others advocated for strict non-proliferation measures. Earth, still new to the galactic stage, sought assurances of protection and support as it found its footing among the stars. As the days wore on, Jack found himself thinking of his old life back in Montana. It seemed a lifetime ago, yet the lessons he'd learned as a small-town sheriff often proved surprisingly applicable in galactic diplomacy. One particularly tense session was broken by Jack's down-to-earth approach. As representatives bickered over resource allocation, he stood up and said, "You know, where I come from, when neighbors have a dispute, we sit down over a cup of coffee and work it out. Why don't we try that?" The suggestion was met with confused looks from some of the alien delegates, but soon enough, they were all sharing Earth's most popular beverage. The informal setting helped break down barriers, and progress was made. As the framework for the new Galactic Federation took shape, Jack found himself drawn to the stories of those whose lives had been changed by the war. He visited refugee camps, spoke with former Khazar slaves, and listened to tales of resistance and hope. One day, while touring a newly established alien quarter in New York City, Jack met a young Zephyrian named Lyra. She was opening a restaurant that would serve cuisine from across the galaxy. "Why Earth?" Jack asked her as they chatted over a strange but delicious meal. Lyra smiled. "Because you humans never ceased to amaze me. You were new to the galaxy, outgunned and outnumbered, but you never gave up. You showed us all what's possible when we work together." Her words stayed with Jack, reminding him of the incredible journey they had all been on. As the first anniversary of the war's end approached, the Galactic Federation prepared for its official inauguration. Representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered in a specially constructed space station orbiting Earth. Jack stood on the observation deck, watching as ships from across the galaxy arrived. Each one was a testament to the diversity and wonder of life in the universe. Admiral Donovan joined him, looking out at the spectacular view. "Did you ever imagine it would end up like this?" he asked. Jack shook his head. "Never in a million years. But I'm glad it did." As they watched, a new ship appeared. It was massive, unlike anything they had seen before. As it drew closer, they realized it was a joint project, combining technologies and designs from every member of the Federation. "That's the Federation's new flagship," Donovan explained. "They want you to captain her." Jack turned to him in surprise. "Me? But I'm not." Donovan held up a hand. "You're exactly what we need out there. Someone who remembers where we came from and what we fought for." As Jack considered the offer, he thought about all they had been through. The battles, the losses, the triumphs. He thought about the people back on Earth and all the new friends he had made among the stars. Finally, he nodded. "All right, I'll do it. But on one condition. Name it, Donovan said. Jack grinned. We stock the ship with plenty of coffee. Never know when we might need to settle a galactic dispute. Donovan laughed, and together they turned back to the view. The galaxy stretched out before them, full of promise and adventure. The heroes we didn't expect had risen to every challenge, and now they were ready to lead the way into a new era of exploration and cooperation. As Jack looked out at the stars, he knew that the greatest adventures were still to come.